Brent, can you tell me a little bit about a trauma dog and what their job is about?
Well, for Hawk and I, he's my partner, and his job is to kind of be a tool, act as a tool when we go and see victims of crime or people who may have suffered a traumatic event or witnesses to a crime. And that tool is to help us facilitate and open up a conversation that might otherwise be difficult or hard for the person that we're talking with.
Right. And is there any differences or similarities that you've noticed from working with him versus a human partner?
He doesn't care what radio station we listen to in the vehicle when we're driving, and I got to pick up after him, probably more than a lot of my partners, not all of them, but most of them. It is so different. When we walk into a room or we walk into any situation, when you're with a human police officer and we would go on a calls, a lot of people would look at us being in uniform.
Right.
Now what I find when we go places, people look at me because I'm in uniform, but then they really are attracted to Hawk. He's a bit more of the show than I am. So when he's born, up to 14 weeks, he's with a puppy raiser, and then he goes and he's with trainers after that and living with different families, working on his obedience. So when I went out to Vancouver and trained with him, he was already trained. It was myself that needed, and the other handler that needed the majority of the training. And that was just understanding his commands and his demeanor and what would get him to move and what he liked and didn't like, and a lot of just building up that relationship between the two.
Can you tell me a little bit about what you feel like the impact has been so far, both on the service and both in the community?
Well, first, speaking about what it's like for him to be in the Calgary Police Service and be in headquarters here, he's had a tremendous impact just on the staff and the other people who are in the building, right? People who like dogs love having Hawk around. Being the nature of the policing, and particularly with us in the Victim Assistance Unit, we're dealing with a lot of high stress, really emotionally impactful situations. And I see in the building here, being able to sit down with Hawk and have a conversation with people, and he does what he does, right? He's able to sit there while you're able to pet him, and we're able to have conversations with that. And that transfers right over to what we've been doing in the community. We've been on calls ranging from people who have suffered from a break-and-enter, child abuse cases. We've been, in schools where they've suffered a loss. And again, he helps us open up that communication, open up that environment where people feel comfortable.
Mm-hmm. Has there ever been a situation where you've been involved in a crisis that's been intense that Hawk has helped you as well?
Yes, I can think of a couple, and they really revolve around child abuse cases. They're difficult for everyone. They're difficult for the police officers who attend, the social workers who are helping, the prosecution. And I can think of those situations where we've gone in and we've helped support people and those kids. And really for me, debriefing with a dog who will just listen, and we're able to have a real relaxing drive home after, it definitely has a huge impact on me as well. Let's go. With them.
And this might sound like a weird question, but if there was anything you could tell Hawk about the job he's doing, what would you say to him?
You know what? That's not a weird question, because I tell him just about every day that he's doing a great job and that he's making a difference.
Yeah, they do sometimes. Typically we don't.
Hello, my name is Miranda Turenne. Miranda Turenne. I've been fostering service dogs for about 5 years.
And tell me why you want to do this.
Well, it's easy to get caught up with adorable puppies, but I'm definitely, especially after my first dog, I'm really excited about pads and the cause. I love the idea of being able to change people's lives. This is Bronx. He's 10 weeks old. He's from the New York litter. This guy is actually related to Hawk. I believe he's a cousin if you go down the lines. And what happens is dogs like Bronx and Hawk are all raised and trained and bred by Pacific Assistance Dog Society. So the idea is that they're out of generations of service dogs, so that in the end we get a dog who's going to love doing what they do, and who is going to have a bit more likelihood of actually being placed in, and helping a person. Is that what somebody like me does is called critical socialization. So I'm here to expose the puppy to as many different scenarios as possible, so that he becomes comfortable and able to work around things like restaurants, the meat department, noisy traffic, so that when he gets placed with a person, nothing is going to be frightening or disturbing to him. And also what I do is basic manners, so everything from house training to coming when you're called, all the little things that actually end up being really important later in his career. And why we do it again and again and again. Everybody, a common thing that people say to me is that I could never give the dog away. And I tell them that's the best part of it, is that I know that when I'm done with my puppy and he gets to graduate and go off to his own university, he's going off to change a life and I get to make a real and personal impact with either individual client or, for a dog like Hawk, hundreds of people throughout his career.